Hello and welcome to our new video. I'm Susi and this is Benji, and Benji is going to tell us something about menus today.
Yeah, we wanted to have a little bit of fun with menus and see how useful they can be in day-to-day practice, examples, whatever. So they're not only for the top bar menu, you all know to navigate through your page, but you can do a lot of other fancy stuff with that. And we wanted to go and show you some examples, what you can also do with menus. And it's off. So we got some stuff from our imaginary designer. We call him Frank. Um, this is a basic Tapestry demo website with some content in it. And our designer thought it was a good idea to put a team member listing on the front page. So what we got is only some HTML markup. And we now need to implement this into Tapestry. And with this example, we want to show you how you could do this with menus on Tapestry.
But why menus? Aren't menus just for generating the linky stuff on top of a page?
Well, basically, a menu is nothing else than, yeah, some data, a data set with some links attached to it. And in this case, we have our team member pages. In this case, we added Matthias and me to that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's our normal pages in the Tapestry tree.
So here will be some detailed description of your
Yeah,
life.
maybe if we want to, we can do that. We also prepared some stuff in the backend for that. That means, as you can see, these are just normal pages like you would expect. Um, and we also added, there's just a title in here, and we put some basic SEO information like an abstract about Matthias in this case, um, and that's basically it. And we also have some image we want to share on social media that's just now got a bit croppy here, um, but that should not be no problem at all. So with menus on Tapestry, it's really easy with the newer versions just to place them anywhere you want.
So I can use them as a content element.
Exactly. You can find them if you go to any page in your Tapestry system and just add new content here. You will find a menu section where we have some sorts of predefined menus that already generate some output, like abstracts or categorized content or categorized pages, whatever you want to do with the menus or what you want to show. Um, like for example, we now want to do a submenu because we want to show all the team members that we are adding here as pages into Tapestry.
So we want to say, okay, create a menu from team, and then it automatically takes all the subpages into account.
Yeah, for example, this would be the subpages part,
Mm-hmm.
or we can choose which pages we want to select and just add them to a list. We can do both examples because it's basically the same. In that case, we will start with a pages content element, and we just give it a fancy name, our team.
That's
Maybe
also a fancy name.
that's also a fancy name. Maybe we write it correctly, so that would be fine. And then we can select some pages here. Um, we're now looking for the records we want to have. Would be here, home, team, and just for the example, we're adding both pages,
Mm-hmm.
and that should be it. So we're saving this. Okay, now we added the pages to the selected pages option because that's all the pages we want to show. And we now can head to the front end and see, okay, our content element with the menu of Matthias and Benjamin gets rendered here.
That doesn't look at all like.
It doesn't really look like the structure provided below, but we can also just show that this is now completely dynamic and add you to the list.
Oh my. I'm going to belong to the team. I'm so happy. Not so happy about this, Susan.
Susie.
Thanks.
So we can now enable this. So we can see the page in the front end. We have a look if we disable the admin panel for now because we don't need it. And it should be Susie's in the menu, but it's not in our team list. So we can now also add Susie to our team list by just adding the content element again. We have it here. But and just add Susie.
Would you use the manual one where you select the team members?
Depends. It gives you a slightly bit more of control about the menu that's generated. Also about the ordering, because it's exactly in that order like you put that in the list. If we now go to the backend and show the same content element with the directory listing, that would be on the home page. Would be subpages, and then we can here select the parent. So we just select team and not the individual members. This is our team. Oh, what the fuck? Our team. So, and if we head to the front end, we see the sorting that's already applied in the backend. So that means if you want to have a bit more of control or want to have a different sorting in that, you can use an individual one, or just use the same ordering as you would get with the normal menu.
So that's for lazy folks like me.
That's for lazy folks, or if you don't need that complete power over the ordering. Yeah. So, but both examples doesn't really look like our designers.
No, they don't.
I guess he would be really unhappy if we leave it like that.
That would be extra lazy, saying here you've got the links, everything else is just fancy.
We don't need it. But I guess it's looking a bit nicer, so we can now find the templates. So we have a pre-installed side package here, as you've seen in the previous videos. And for that reason, we already have included the setup of fluid cell content, because that are the content elements we want to override. And we also already set the constants that are setting the new path to our demo extension here. So we're not going too deep into that. We have a separate session for that later or before, depends on the time schedule of the videos. But on the setup is the same stuff. We included fluid style content here, the complete setup, and that's basically it. It's completely clean, nothing else to do. For that, we now have to find the template that's currently loaded. We have two ways of doing that. The first way would be we head to the backend and have a look at the template itself, and we have to look at the template TypeScript object browser. Just wait to be loaded, and we don't want to see the constants, but we want to see the setup, basically. So we can now find the elements in here. For now, we know that it's menu pages and menu subpages. That are the elements we put on the front side. That are the identifiers in the database and the rendering definition for that. So if we now going to have a look, we see, okay, the template name is menu pages. And we now can have a look at the styles section, content. No, this is completely wrong. We can have a look at the lib content element that's applied to every element here that's providing the configuration. That means we can have a look in lib. This is lib content element. And then we see here the paths where the templates are provided. That means we will override it with demo resources, private templates, content elements.
That's what you just showed in the code.
Yeah, exactly. And the original templates are located in fluids like content resources, private templates. So we can now switch to the folder and have a look what's going on there. So we're closing this for a moment and go directly to tab 3, sysext, and then we have fluid style content here. And then find in resources, private templates, the templates that's fluid style content is showing by default.
So it's menu pages we have to look at.
Yeah. So we now go to menu pages. We see, okay, that's just a simple list.
Looks easy.
Looks quite easy, not too complicated, just a single level we have to care about. And we now can take and just copy the element or the HTML file, go back to our site package. That's here. And we defined, okay, we want to put it not directly into the template folder, but we have defined that we have also a content elements folder here, so we can just separate our page templates from the content elements one. So we can just paste it here and just have a look if it's already working. Here we go. Switch to the front end, to reload, and see, okay, we fetched that one.
Perfect.
Yeah. So we can now start adjusting the template. For the first step would be, okay, we take the template of our imaginary front-end designer. That he was so kind and already provided it as HTML element directly in Tapestry. Not the best way to do it.
Don't do that at home.
Don't do that at home. But he was quite in a rush and didn't have much time to provide us proper templates. So we will do the job for him and just take the template and paste his stuff here. Go back to the backend, just disable his content element so it's not interfering with our stuff. And then we can just reload the page itself. So now we see our team, the headline is rendered, and directly below that is the cards our designer provided. And below that simply is a list. So we now can just simply adapt the element or the template to our needs. For the first, where's my right click? We can just format the document a bit so it's not so messy. And we see, okay, we have a condition here if menu is set in the original one. That means, okay, I guess that's a variable where the menu is stored in, right? Okay, but we will check that just to be sure. And we go to debug. Let's have a look at menu. And see, okay, what is in our template. Okay, see, we have 3 elements that matches 1 to 3. And we can have a look in here. So, okay, we see, okay, that's possible the link from Matthias. There's also already the link, the target. We have some active states, currents, baser, and we also have some files attached to that. That could be the images we pre-assigned.
If I didn't know that the variable was called menu, how would I know?
Well, the easiest way to find what in a template is assigned, you just replace menu with all. Oops. That's green. And then we will look, okay, we see we have also more data here. That is, one thing is the settings. That's okay, we have the default header type, it's fluid, style content specific stuff. We have some media settings. We have the complete record of the current element. That means, okay, we have access to our pages, and you see here the type of the content that's rendered in the data array. Current is not assigned, and we see, okay, yes, obviously the menu. So
Okay,
that's
so
how you could find out.
so and then I'd
was
go
assigned.
like, okay, menu is what I want, and let me use
Exactly.
that.
We can have a look where menu does come from. This is not something that's always available. In fluid styled content, we're assigning so-called data processors to content elements. You can find them in fluid styled content configuration, TypeScript, content element, and then we can here also have a look for menu pages, for example. And you see, okay, menu pages is basically a data processor. With the special list, it's, if you are familiar to HMenu, it's basically the same configuration, and it takes its values from field pages, and it also processes for each record or menu item it finds the field media and resolves the resources.
And why is the variable called menu now?
Menu is the default variable provided by the processor. We can now, just for a quick look, you should never edit the core itself, but we can here just provide a new name for that. So we can now call it hello. Then we need to go to the backend, clear the front-end cache. Like Benny told you, mostly the only one you need to know about. And we can now hit refresh. And we destroyed something, maybe. What's happening?
It's still loading, isn't it?
It shouldn't load anything.
Secure connection is being established. It's at the bottom.
This is quite interesting.
I think we destroyed everything.
Yeah, there it is. It's as you can see, okay, it's really hello now.
No.
So we really roll that change quickly back, and nobody has seen that we ever done that. And we leave the configuration for now alone, and hit back to our template that's in our extension and that we are allowed to modify without interfering anything else. So that means, okay, the element should only be rendered if there's actually a menu. That means if no items are assigned, we don't want to render the menu. We can just check that and just apply the condition around the markup provided.
That's also so no empty div containers.
No empty div containers. We only want to put something out if there is something. We can go quick and check that if that is already working. That's the pages element we are editing. And we are just removing the entries here. And just hit save. Go back to the front end, have a look what's going on. And I guess...
Yeah, we get the card still.
We get the card still because if nothing is assigned, it points to the current page.
That's why we have home now. as a
Yes,
thing.
exactly.
Okay. So no point in entering nothing, because how would you render nothing? Doesn't make sense. So.
Yeah. So we just add the pages again. We have that one.
Yay,
So
now I'm first.
now you're first, Uli. You're always first in my heart, you know.
Don't let Darina hear that.
We're still waiting for the secure connection.
It's very secure.
I guess we have some Wi-Fi issues here, and we can
Just continue talking about nothing.
continue talking about nothing and just cut it all later.